Before you go out and spend money on a cold brew coffee brewer, let me show you how to make cold brew at home with some items that you probably already have. There is a misconception that to make good coffee at home, you have to have all of this expensive gear, and it really just simply isn't true. If you start with fresh beans and filtered water, you can have a great result at home with the gear that you already have. And like I said, maybe just picking up a filter bag in this case, as we are going to be making cold brew. So I have our Rwanda Chaisha. It's a wash coffee. It's very fruity, citrusy. It's got some nice tangerine, cranberry, lime, honey notes, nice sweetness, nice acidity. It's great as a hot coffee, particularly pour over, coffee maker, French press. However, I found it also is absolutely fantastic as a cold brew. And so being that it is summer in Florida, sometimes we like to have a little bit of a cooler coffee drink on those really hot and humid days. So basically, all you need is a pitcher. And in this case, this is a half a gallon pitcher. And I've already got pre-measured filtered water, of course. And this is 2 liters. I've put up the conversions to cups. And for those of you that do not use the metric system, I actually use both, oddly enough. And cold brew, you can make to taste, of course. However, we're going to use a 1:5 ratio. So for every gram of coffee, we're going to have 5 grams of water. And so this particular recipe, I'm going to use an entire bag of coffee. This is 12 ounces or 340 grams. And I'm going to go ahead and grind it very coarse. So you want kind of a French press grind, maybe even a little coarser depending on your grinder. I've got a Malconic EK43 here, so I'm going to go ahead and grind this up. And these paper filter bags, you can buy them in various sizes. This size works well with the Toddy brewing system for cold brew. I found it also fits very well in a half-gallon pitcher. In this case, I'm using, this coffee was roasted about 6 weeks ago, and I'm doing some taste testing to see how long after post-roast date the coffee notes are still detectable, and the freshness gives us a better idea for our customers that purchase our coffee and making brewing recommendations and so on and so forth. So go ahead and grind this up. I've got a 14.5 setting. This is the version 2 of the EK43, so I've got a 0 to 16 on the dial. And if you don't have a burr grinder and you're using a blade grinder, not preferable. Burr grinder, you're always going to get a little bit of a better taste result. However, you can make it work. Just go as coarse as you can, as consistent as you can. You don't want too many fines, or you're going to wind up with a lot of silt in the bottom, and you're going to have to kind of filter it through. So. All right. So see, our coffee here fills up about the bottom quarter of the bag ground. And so what I like to do is kind of twist it. And you can use a twist tie. I kind of loop it just so the top stays closed. And just want to avoid it breaking. I have had it happen where the bag broke, and it's not the end of the world, but you do have to spend some time straining it and you know, sifting out the fines. So just want to kind of secure it. I'm going to kind of set it down in here, kind of bunch it up a little bit. So here we go. Got our half-gallon pitcher, and I've got my water pre-measured. Like I said, it's 2 liters, and I'm just going to slowly pour, kind of saturate the whole bag. You notice some bubbles, but ideally you want this entire bag submerged. So I kind of jam it down in there, so it will, it's going to float a little bit, but the slower you pour, the more air will come out, and it won't just pop to the top. All right, put the lid on here. And common misconception, and I hear this from a lot of customers, is when they make cold brew at home, they put it in the fridge. Don't put it in the fridge. You want it to steep room temperature, and for Me personally, I've experimented with some different brew times, but generally anywhere from 16 hours up to 24 hours. For me, the sweet spot is kind of 18 to 20, depending on the coffee. This is a lighter, fairly light roast coffee. So, 20 hours is going to be adequate. And this one's a little more aged. It's about 6 weeks past roast date. The thing about cold brew is it's a very forgiving brew method. So if you forget about it, or you leave it for 24 hours, or maybe you pull it early, it's very forgiving, stable, smooth flavor profiles in most cases. It depends on the coffee and the roast level and the development of the coffee. But it's great, especially if you have maybe too much coffee. Utilize some of your older coffees for cold brew. Cold brew kind of can mask some of the flavors, the aged flavors that you get in coffee. And also, once you're done with your grounds, like you have a nice, good sized bag of grounds. If you garden or have a compost pile, ground coffee is great for that as well. Just to recap, so it was a 12-ounce bag of coffee, 340 grams, to 2 liters of water, or about 8.3 cups. And we're going to steep it for about 20 hours, room temperature, not in the refrigerator. And once it's finished, it will make a concentrate. And personally, I like to dilute it 1-to-1. So if I pour out 8 ounces, I'll add 8 ounces of water. I get 16 ounces of brewed coffee. You can also make ice cubes out of this and concentrate, and your coffee won't get watered down that way. Cold brew is actually one of my favorite methods, and it's very easy to make at home. You don't have to have a lot of expensive gear. You don't have to go buy a cold brew brewer. Just a paper filter bag. You get a big package of them for very low cost. This method works great. Well, with that, hope you've enjoyed this video and make it a great day. Happy brewing.